Welcome, everybody, to The World is a Mess, and I just want to steampunk it. I am your host, Steampunk Star Raisin. I'm here in North Hollywood, California, USA, and I'm here with Daniel from Bellwood, Ontario, Canada.
Hi, what's up?
And this is April 23rd, 2022. This is episode 59. Yeah, we were talking off camera because I wanted to get you ready what I was going to talk about, but are you familiar? You're not familiar with comic book grading services, are you?
No.
CGC. Well, CGC is the biggest one, and what they do is you send off a comic book, they vacuum seal it, and then they give it a grade from 0 to 10, or from 1 to 10. And I sent off, this is Spider-Man issue 1 variant edition, LA Comic-Con. As you can see, it's got the LA Comic-Con logo, LA Comic-Con logo on the back, and it is graded 9.8. It is in mint, it's borderline mint, near mint condition. Mint condition would be 9.9, and then like perfect pristine mint would be version 10.0. So it's a pretty good condition comic book. This is a limited edition. I think they only printed 1,500 of these. These were given away at or sold at LA Comic-Con 2019. When I went to LA Comic-Con last year, 2021, back in December, they still had these at the merch store in person that you could buy for $5 each. And they also had an autograph version, but the problem is that if the autograph is not witnessed, you will not get it certified by CGC. They'll give you like a green cover saying that it's been altered. So if you have a autograph that's been witnessed by somebody at CGC, then they will give you a yellow cover like I have. So the cool thing about this is it's vacuum sealed. You know, you can't read the comic book, but it's a collectible. And because this is in mint, near mint condition, it's, you know, it cost me $50, but considering that this is certified as a real comic book and it's certified graded 9.8 on the CGC scale, in other words, it's mint, near mint, and this is a variant covered edition that I think they only made like 1,500 at LA Comic-Con. So this is a very collectible comic book. This is Spider-Man issue 1 from November 2019, and apparently this has the first appearance of Carnivorous, which I've never heard of that character. I haven't read a lot of comic books lately, and the death of Mary Jane, in quotes. But yeah, so pretty cool. You know, a lot of people will hang these on the wall. I might try to hang it on the wall. I just got to make sure I have a way to securely hang it. But yeah, they may give you a little plastic bag so that the plastic doesn't get scratched. But yeah, if you're a serious comic book collector, I recommend submitting to CGC. You don't have to actually submit just at a comic book convention. You could mail them in, but then of course it's more expensive because then you have to mail your comic book in padding and, you know, make sure you have packaging so that it can survive the trip to get to CGC if you mail it. It's much easier if you do your submissions in person at a comic book convention. That's what I did with this last year. It took me 4 months to get it back. But I like how they have on the cover, it's got like an LA theme where Spider-Man's hanging from a palm tree and he's eating a hot dog from a hot dog vendor. Hot dog vendors are very, very numerous, very common in LA. So it's got kind of an LA theme because it's LA Comic-Con. But yeah, pretty cool. The value of this is kind of subjective, but I would say it's probably worth about $100. I only paid $5 for the comic book, but I had it mailed off. I paid $50 to have it graded and in slab. You can actually, of course, if you wanted to, you could break these out of the slab and have them regraded, or I wouldn't because it costs a lot of money to have it put in there. I also have I have one that's very sentimental. I should put this in my little safe area. Let me see. I don't have it ready to get out. I may have to show on the next podcast, but I have a comic book that's also graded by CGC. It's Secret Wars issue 1, and it's autographed by Stan Lee, and it has a yellow label instead of a blue label. Blue label is just a universal grade. Yellow label means that they witnessed the celebrity autographing the comic. So that's very valuable because Stan Lee is no longer autographing comic books. And the value of his signature has gone up in value, and it's sentimental to me because I remember when Stan Lee signed it for me. My only regret on that is I picked a really crappy copy of Secret Wars issue 1 for him to sign. I thought it was in better condition than it was, but I guess it was a little bit beat up, and so it got a grade of very good fine, which is not worth that much by itself, but considering it's slabbed and graded, and it's got white pages, and it is autographed by Stan Lee, and it's also the second printing of Secret Wars issue 1. Because imagine that back in the 80s, they sold so many comic books that sometimes they would come out with a second printing, and it would say that in the fine print that this was the second printing, because they sold so many millions of copies. I couldn't imagine them doing that today. Today, they just do variant covers for collectors. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I figured that would be a good one because this is a variant cover for LA Comic Con. They don't, you can only I could have only bought this at LA Comic Con, and I think they only printed like 1,500 versions of this variant cover, so this has a potential to go up in value. But yeah, I love comic books when I can afford to collect them. I still got to recover. I sold all of my comic book collection back in 2014, 2015, because I was hard up for money when I lived on the streets for a number of years, and so I used that money to survive. But I'm slowly rebuilding it back up. But it is what it is. So anyway, so how are you, Daniel? What's on your mind? Sorry, I was blabbing about my comic book collection or one aspect.
It's good. I like comic book collections. I used to have one too in the 90s, but then when my roof started leaking in my room, everything was taken out. Everything was taken out, and my mom threw away my comic book collection.
Oh, that's
yeah.
I mean, I also have a poster signed by Stan Lee as well. That is also very sentimental. And I have, because it's a poster, not a comic book, I have a certificate of authenticity proving that it was, it tells you the date that it was actually signed. So yeah, my Stan Lee comic, I used to have 3 autographed Stan Lee comics, but I sold 2 of them to make some extra money. And I kind of regret doing it now because Stan Lee's autographs have gone up in value since he passed away in 2018. So, but yeah, anything else on your mind? I guess we're going to transition on to talking about Picard episode 8.
Oh my God, did you see that last episode? It was so good. We find out that like Q is dying or something.
Yeah, that doesn't make much sense because the Q are from the future and their technology is so advanced. And I don't really like how they refer to him as a god. But because he's not a god, he's just the Q are a alien species, or they're a species of beings from the future whose technology is so sufficiently advanced that it appears to be magic. And they're very non-linear because they come from the future. So if Q is dying, does that mean that the Q from the past, who time traveled to the past, is still alive? They need to clear that up. And I know that they're doing it as a gimmick hook, tagline for the plot to string you along, but it kind of feels like a filler episode. I've already grown tired of the 21st century. I mean, they put a little bit of Easter eggs in the beginning. They made it seem like they were going to cover the Bell riots, but they haven't done that at all. And I mean, they just put in like, oh, this is ICE is bad. Yes, I know ICE is bad, but it would have been a more interesting commentary because the Bell riots encapsulated not just ICE and racism, but it encapsulated how we have marginalized communities based off of poverty, and how people who are born into an impoverished situation get stuck in it and can't get out of it. And that's what was the beauty of the Deep Space Nine episode. And there's no reference to that at all. We're already into episode 8. It's nice to see Q back, and it is mysterious, to see that he's like losing his powers and apparently he's dying. But it just feels like a filler episode, and it's just like, ooh, SEAL Team 6, she's going to assimilate them. She needs lithium off the batteries. It contradicts what the Borg were before. The Borg generate nanobots just from assimilating flesh. They don't need lithium batteries off of cell phones to create nanobots. It just doesn't make any sense to me. The Borg queen getting herself killed by herself, who she assimilated so that she could fool other people, and then she didn't assimilate the cop, and then she's got everybody locked out of the ship. But then how come Rios can transport in, and then Rios is like hitting on that girl, that doctor that he met at the medical clinic, and contaminating the timeline by introducing her to the ship. And then how he's able to transport them in. It makes no sense. There's continuity errors just within season 2. And then how come the Borg Queen can't teleport back if she's got control of the ship and she's got it locked out? How come she can't transport back to the ship? I don't know. I had issues with the story. It's not making much sense. And we're already at episode 8. And it felt like another filler episode to me. But anyway, I know you liked it, but I'm just really, I'm a Gene Roddenberry, Rick Berman fan of Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Once it got past Rick Berman, it's been crap, because you can just tell the writers don't really understand Star Trek. I mean, that's why I lost interest in Star Trek Discovery. What was that cartoon? Lower Decks. I couldn't stand that. Lower Decks was just too goofy and too childish to me. I mean, I get it. It's geared towards a younger audience. It's just not my cup of tea. And then there was that other series where what's the other Star Trek series that has Janeway as a hologram?
Wait a second. I forgot. Those are so silly. I can't even remember them.
Yeah, well, the problem with that, let's see.
It's made by Nickelodeon.
The problem with that is I saw the first episode of that. I can't remember what its name. It was very forgettable. It doesn't even feel like a Star Trek episode until the very end. And then there's like a holograph of Janeway, and apparently they've sent a starship to help free this alien race from being enslaved or something. It makes no sense. It's a very contrived plot line. Let's see. Star Trek cartoon with Janeway. Star Trek Prodigy. Yeah, I saw the season premiere of Star Trek Prodigy, and it's all cutesy, like a typical Nickelodeon cartoon. The main character, he kind of reminds me of a cyberpunk guy. It doesn't seem connected to the Star Trek universe at all, but only superficially towards the end, where you see the Janeway holograph, and apparently they have delivered a starship to help free this alien race that's enslaved by machines. And the problem is that the alien race that's enslaved by these machines, how would they even know how to use a starship? Work the engineering or do anything like that?
What's this link you sent me?
Okay, last night me and my friends were talking about the episode of Picard, and we're talking about like okay, like what we're talking about right now. Like if something happened, let's say something happened in the Q continuum, right? And the Q wiped themselves out in like some kind of a world war or something, because we saw that they had a civil war in Voyager, right? Or what come
Yeah,
after the
yeah,
Civil
yeah.
War?
I remember that. It was
What
like,
what yeah. It was called the Q and the Gray.
yeah, and it was modeled after like the Civil War, or the Union Army versus
Yeah, okay. So
Confederate
like
Army.
what happened what came after the Civil War? Well, a World War One, right? What if they had a World War in the continuum and like let's say the Q is the last one, right? He's the last one. He's like basically the last son of Krypton, right? Uh
Maybe, I don't know. It doesn't make,
like
it's not making sense, but maybe they'll wrap it up. But they have not done a good job of maintaining consistency and continuity and wrapping things up. I
yeah.
don't like that Guinan has been recast. It's like, keep Whoopi Goldberg, but apparently they only had Whoopi Goldberg as a cameo, and use de-aging technology. If you're going to do that on Patrick Stewart for like flashbacks and stuff,
Yeah, but the thing is they're trying to save money. Like I think they're trying to save money this season for like a big finale next season. Like, okay, like I know
I get strung along with these streaming shows. They usually end up being crap. I mean, like the Hawkeye show was crap.
yeah,
The uh, Falcon Winter Soldier show, in my opinion, was crap. It just was boring. I
yeah.
want to see a superhero show. I don't want to see,
Hmm.
like, oh, I'm having financial problems and I just can't make it. It doesn't make any sense because, like if you were the Falcon, and even if Tony Stark is dead, um, you still have connections with Stark Industries. It doesn't make any sense that you would be tight on money and not be able to um get a
Yeah.
loan. I guess he didn't exist in the blip, so he didn't have credit for 4 years, but in that alternate universe, I'm sure that it would accommodate for people knowing that there was a bunch of people who didn't
Hmm.
exist for 4 years and they re-existed. But Pepper Potts, he should still have a connection with Pepper Potts. It literally makes no sense. They're like, we need some drama. Let's insert drama, even though it contradicts the previous plot lines. And it just
So
shows
like
you lazy
yeah,
writers, lazy writing. A lot of these streaming shows, it's just filler episodes. They're just trying to string you along
yeah.
with one or
Well,
two plot threads to keep you watching, because they don't really have the budget to do it properly. That's what
well,
I
yeah,
felt
but
with Falcon Winter
the
Soldier.
thing
That's
is,
what I felt with Hawkeye. And that's what I feel with seasons 1 and season 2 of Picard.
but
I
the
mean,
thing
I'm going to
is,
watch. I'm
yeah.
curious to see how they wrap this up. I am optimistic for season 3 because they're bringing back all the original cast. I hope they don't cheese out, but
It's been rumored that Cisco is going to make an appearance in this season. Like, I'm thinking, okay, what if he was, they were talking like Citric
well, I
Lofton was
heard that
on.
he didn't want to return to Star Trek.
No, I know
So
that, but Citric Lofton did say on the Fourth Rule podcast, he did say last year that um, Avery Brooks would like to come back if the story was good. So maybe I don't know. They were talking about bringing him in season 2 to help Picard, but now there's so much happening in season 2. What if
yeah, I
he's going to
don't I
be?
don't see him coming
I,
in,
it's
because I would think
possible.
that they would already bring him in there, because otherwise he's just
No,
going to
but
be in there for
yeah,
a cameo, and it's not going to have much impact on the story because it's just going to be a cameo
yeah.
at
But
best.
what I'm
Because
saying
we're
is
already
like,
8 episodes
yeah.
in and he still hasn't made an appearance.
But
I'm
you know
looking up
what? If you look at
Avery Brooks's IMDb. Let me see what the most recent thing as he's done as an actor. Apparently he's kind of quit acting. The
hmm,
most recent thing he's done as an actor is Star Trek Legacy, the video game. He did the voice on that.
hmm.
Let's see, director. He directed a few episodes. He directed 9 episodes of Deep Space Nine. I did not know that. Let's see. Wow, he hasn't really acted in anything in a while. He's kind of quit acting. And I heard that he didn't want to return to Star Trek. because he's.
But you know what? Like, if you look at the trailer for Picard, you do see Picard's hand, and you see a black man's hand on top of his. So, I mean, who else could it be? It has to be probably Cisco.
I don't know. I mean,
You know what? I think if
maybe
he
they
does appear,
recast Cisco, just like they recast Whoopi Goldberg. I just the actress who plays the new Whoopi Goldberg, she just lacks the warmth and charisma. Whoopi Goldberg has a lot of charisma. She's very charming, a lot of charisma, just warmth to the character that, in my opinion, is lacking.
I like the new actress. I think she's kind of cool, you know?
Okay.
I mean, that's just me, but I just think it's really interesting. And
To each his own.
yeah, but you know what? Like, okay, about the Cisco, I think he will appear at the very end of the season, and that'll probably lead into the third season. I think he will probably play a big role in the third season. I mean, this is just, chances are. Because I mean, who else could that black man's hand be?
I don't know. You can't assume. We don't know. I haven't seen was this a trailer to episode 9?
No. It was a trailer for the entire series. I remember seeing like some guy did a shot for shot thing on the trailer, and it appears to be a black man.
Hold on. Picard season 2.
Like, I went on this
Hey, hold on.
Oh.
I gotta get past this Dairy Queen commercial. Oh my God. I do not care about Dairy Queen.
Why not? It's good.
I don't care about it in this context. Yeah, sorry. I just got through watching it again. I don't know what you're talking about, but you can't assume just because it's a hand that it's automatically Cisco. We don't know. That's the answer. Unknown. Oops. It's jumping. I hate auto. I need to disable autoplay. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. We got about 3 minutes left.
What I was gonna say was, you know what? Like, okay, so what if remember at the Q and the Gray when they started procreating? The two Qs started procreating.
Yeah.
Well, what if everybody started doing that after that episode, right? All of them started procreating, right? And they started mass producing, right? Like,
I don't
spreading
know.
all over.
I don't know.
Right?
The Q are
Then
very mysterious. They haven't really answered everything about the Q, their origins, or where they came from.
I mean, like what happens? Like when you procreate, well, look at our history. We procreate and procreate. What happens? Like eventually people rise up
and they fight for supremacy, right? Well, what if that happened in the Q continuum?
I don't see what that has to do with Q dying.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll get, but I don't know. Maybe he was injured and maybe he's dying or something. I don't know. I mean,
It doesn't make sense to me, because then what would he not just come across the past version of himself?
yeah,
'Cause
exactly. You reminded
the
me.
past version of himself would
Yeah,
he would have traveled back in time multiple times. So
exactly. Like, why
how
wouldn't
could the
he?
Q really truly die when they're kind of non-linear as a
Yeah,
species? It doesn't make sense to me.
but see, that's what I was saying. If you watch the cast that me and my friends did last night, like, I'm like, okay, we knew the Q continuum was around in 2371 or 2372, right? So why doesn't he just travel back there and stop whatever happened? You know, we can warn them, right? But
I
then
don't know.
people were like, you know what? Time doesn't work that way with the Q. They're not. It doesn't work that way for us. It works that way for us, but it doesn't work that way for them
Well,
because they're above time. They're
well,
above time.
plot armor continuity doesn't work that way, especially when it doesn't make sense under Alex Kurtzman.
So I don't know. Maybe
So-
you know what? Maybe someday if I can invite you to one of our casts. Maybe
Yeah, I told you you could. You just got to send me the link.
Yeah. You know, I can bring you in. We can talk about it, or maybe I can bring maybe my friends here. You know, if I mean, I tried to bring some of my friends here, but they're like, oh, I can't do Zoom or whatever. You know,
Some people
whatever.
don't like Zoom because they
Yeah.
view it
So
as
you know,
very nice.
it's really interesting. And oh my God, we have like what 4 more days to go? 5 more days to go. Oh my dear Lord.
For what?
For the next episode 9 of Picard. Apparently, Brent Spiner is the bad guy in this one. And
Yeah,
you know,
he's
like
he's a Soon. What?
yeah, Adam Soon
Adam Soon.
from 2024. And
He's playing
apparently
yet another Soon. He's played so many Sooms before. I think it's
yeah.
but oh well, we shall see. Yeah, I know he's the bad guy because he's being goaded by Q.
No, now the Queen. Now the Queen. No, now
And
he's
now the
voted by the
Queen.
Queen.
We shall see. But anyway, we're out of time. Thank you for joining me. This has been The World is a Mess, and I just want to steampunk it. Episode 59, April 23rd, 2022. You have a nice day. And I will see you 25 billion years. I will.